Hey, Haywood County, thank you so much for not only picking up another issue of the Moxxie Magazine, but for taking the time to zap the code on our front cover story, which is with Dr. Michael Gillespie, who owns Gillespie Dental here in Haywood County. So I'm really excited to have him. He's got an awesome story. I don't know if you guys follow him or his business on Facebook. If you don't, you should. You'll get the laugh of the day almost every day. So thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
I appreciate you asking me.
Absolutely.
It's an honor.
Well, you know, one of the things that when we did our photo shoot with you for the Discover Haywood book, it was the first time that I'd really met you. I remember when I talked to you about just being an ad in the publication, you were like, well, let's go meet for coffee. And it was just a really cool, laid back, which is not necessarily something that I guess dentists in the industry kind of give off that vibe. So tell me a little bit about what you were like growing up as a little boy.
Well, I'll say, you know, kind of to tie into what you were talking about, one reason I think we connected is we're both creative people. So my background is as an artist. Growing up, I was the kid who drew the cartoons in class. The teacher needed something for the bulletin board, you know, they'd come get me because I was an artist.
Yeah.
And so as I grew up, that's what I intended to be, was an artist. So
really?
My undergraduate degree is in graphic design. And so I have always been a creative type person and really still consider myself as a creative. So growing up, I was into the typical things that a creative person would be, which was music, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
You know, art, I seem to be, you know, inclined toward those kind of things. So, you know, my brother and I have a twin brother who's a dentist as well.
Oh my God,
And,
are you serious?
Yeah, he's a dentist as well. And so we both were musical. We had a little garage band. And it literally was a garage band. We were above our garage. And
What was the name of your band? Did you ever name yourselves?
we had multiple names, you know. I think, you know, I've forgotten most of them, but it kind of depended on the personnel. You know, we, like all rock and roll bands, you know, you kind of have people come and go. Sometimes we had a female singer. Sometimes we'd form together and we'd play, you know, just like a party, say, just, you know, on a Friday night or something like that. But we have, you know, we went from our garage to a friend's basement. And so we kind of played around. We never did really get to where we were playing gigs or that kind of thing. It was more or less for our fun, enjoyment, and our friends. We just kind of kicked around that way.
So what was it like, first of all, so I know you shared with me before that you can play the bass guitar. So what does your twin brother play?
Tim is my brother, and he is really multi-instrumentalist.
Okay.
He plays guitar, banjo, he's an excellent trumpet player.
Wow.
Yeah, so he actually had a band that he played with for several years called the Vinyl Brothers in Asheville. And then, of course, my kids are the latest generation in this, the brothers Gillespie. And so they've kind of taken it all to a different level. They've taken all our experiences, and I think they say that was their influence. If folks ask them, they'll say, well, you know, Dad was taking us to, you know, first grade to elementary school, and we were listening to the Allman Brothers and the Doobies and, you know, Beatles.
Yeah, of course.
All those kind of things. So all that had an influence on them as well. So it's been, you know, just a pleasure for me to see my kids take it to the next level. And I say they're living my dream because they're getting out and they're playing music at
Well,
venues.
they just launched a tour, didn't they?
Yeah, they're launching a tour. Actually have an album out. They just produced a locally produced album that the guys did a fantastic job for them. And,
well, I was at the Gem that night that they played, what, 2 weeks ago, I guess?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it was damn near packed.
Yeah, you know, they've started all the local venues here, and each time they've kind of packed it out, so they definitely have a local following. They moved to Johnson City because the youngest one is getting ready to graduate from East Tennessee State. So they all want to be together. He's actually getting a minor in music over there.
Wow.
So they had access to some facilities and people that kind of thing. And
Well, Johnson City's a college town.
Johnson City's a college town.
So, yeah.
They actually had a residency at a listening room, a bar/listening room over there for about a month. There's a place called Capone's in Johnson City.
Okay.
Acoustics are great, probably the best acoustics that they've ever had. But they played there. They play in Charlotte. They've got a listening room that loves to have them come down. One of the guys actually went to school in Charlotte, so they've got kind of a ready-built base there.
Wow.
As well. So, and then another went to school in Knoxville. They've got a place they play in Knoxville, so they have little areas of kind of built-in, supporters,
Sure.
groupies that kind of come out and show up, and of course the bar owners love it because
Absolutely. They bring people in. They drink beer, and
They do
everyone
business,
is
yeah.
there.
Yeah, everybody has a good time.
Absolutely.
We go to as many shows as we can. We're looking forward to this fall tour because they're looking to go not just to Southeast, they want to get out in Texas. So we're kind of planning our vacations.
Around where they're going to be jamming.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. And there's your 3 sons, and then you're a friend or nephew?
I have 3 sons that are in the band.
Right.
And then they've got a friend that plays bass with them.
Okay.
So he, a guy that they've grown up with. And,
Yeah.
the guy who will be playing bass with them is basically like the 4th Gillespie brother. And so he grew up.
Of course.
So it really is not a stretch to be the brothers Gillespie. He's a guy that grew up, spent vacations with us.
Yeah.
And he's like the 4th Gillespie.
So you got 4 boys, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
So with, so kind of growing up and, going to college and thinking that music or art and, design was going to be where you took your life.
Yeah.
What was the shift?
Well, I'll tell you, I guess the tipping point was, I had grown up and I knew that I was going to be in art somehow. I always felt that, I always liked marketing type things as well. And so I was an advertising artist. I worked for the Charlotte Observer. I worked for a company that was a trade show producer, one of the largest trade show producers in the country.
Wow.
And I was the art director for them. But I was living in Charlotte. My wife is a native of Gastonia. She's a native of that area. We were living there, but I never did. They say you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. And that was me right there. That pretty much sums it up. I'm kind of an outdoors person. I like to fish, hike, kayak. I like to get on the water. I like to get out in the woods. And I was living in Charlotte, and while you can get to those places, here, this is our backyard.
Yeah.
And literally, these days, I can have my stuff, out in the truck. And I can leave here and I can be on a trout stream in 15 minutes. I can be on a lake. I can be hiking in the woods. So I really miss that. I'm a local guy.
Are you born and raised?
I'm from Silva.
Okay.
So I was born and raised in Silva. When I always joke, say when I went off to college, I went to Western Carolina University, which was 8 miles from my home.
Right.
So the first 22, 23 years of my life were spent here in the mountains. And, I went away for a while. I went to Knoxville, I went to Charlotte. And, there's these Blue Ridge Mountains. You cannot get it out of your system. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that as Lisa and I got married, as we began to think about a family, I wanted to raise them the same way I was raised. And so I began looking for towns closer to home. The first thought was Asheville, of course, being the biggest city.
Right.
But I found a dentist who had a practice for sale here in Waynesville, and we got together. He was ready to kind of start looking toward retirement. I was getting ready to get out of school, had about a year left, and so we just did the deal. He said, listen, if you're interested in this, if this is where you want to be, and I felt like this is home. Spent a lot of time in all these towns, whether it's Silva, Franklin, Bryson City, Waynesville, Cherokee, Maggie Valley. I consider all this my home. My family has actually been in this area over 200 years. The Gillespies.
Wow.
The Gillespies were frontier settlers of what was then Buncombe County and Transylvania County. And if you see our building, there's we've got
This building here?
this building here. Now this is a newer building. This is about 20 years, but I have a quilt square
Yes.
on there. And if you see the quilt square,
I know about
if you
that.
take a look at it, it is rifle stocks.
Okay.
And then the way that they're designed, it's designed to spiral, which mimics the barrel, the rifling of a barrel. Because my ancestors were gun makers, as well as moonshiners and everything else, but they were gun makers, gunsmiths in what's now Transylvania County. So my family's been in Western North Carolina since the late 1700s.
Wow.
And they were rifle makers. There are rifles made by the Gillespie that are on display at Western Carolina University. There's one that was given to a Cherokee chief. It's on display in Franklin. There is actually a museum, I think his name's Jim Bob Tinsley Museum in Brevard, which we would consider the home place. And they have at least one rifle on display there and several others. So whenever they started the Quilt Square, the Arts Council here started the Quilt Square program several years ago. I wanted to get on it because it answered two things for me. I was involved in the arts, and I was also able to honor my ancestors.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think as people look at it, it's kind of abstract. You don't realize what it is, but now that I've told you what it is,
I won't be able to miss it.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, so the question that I asked you before is like when the transition was. When you graduated from college, did you graduate knowing that you wanted to be a dentist?
No, absolutely not.
You graduated from college thinking that you were going to go into design.
Yeah, and I did. So I was working in Charlotte.
Right, at the newspaper.
Yeah,
so when was that moment that you said, I'm going to be a dentist?
That is another thing that brings my brother into the picture. Here again, we're twins, and so we've always been, of course, close.
Are you identical twins?
We are identical twins.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we were both home one weekend, and it was Memorial Day, and we had both kind of come home. He was in Alabama, I was in Charlotte, and we had both come home for the weekend. And Tim was telling me about a friend who he was working as a research chemist. And he told me about a friend who was going to dental school or who had applied to dental school. And Tim said, I'm kind of thinking about that myself. Well, literally a light bulb went off. I thought, that is something that it's portable. Everyone needs dentists.
Right.
And so it's something that I could look into at any rate. So I went back Monday morning. I called the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. At that time, that was the only dental school in North Carolina. I called the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill to see what the requirements were. Well, since I had an undergraduate degree, I was about 3/4 of the way there.
Wow.
Being an art major, I did not have all the science courses. So my second call was to UNC Charlotte, since I was living down there, to see if I could fill it out, if I could finish up the science. So I did about a year of just intense science courses. I waited tables at night at a local restaurant. I went to school during the day. I took organic chemistry, I took biochemistry, I took anatomy, physiology, all the requirements that I needed. And I crammed it all, I crammed 4 years of science into 1 year.
Oh my God.
So
you had no life.
I had no life. I learned to drink coffee. I'd never been a coffee drinker until that point. So that's where I learned to love coffee.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time studying, more time studying. But the good thing about that was, at that point, I had been working for several years.
Yeah.
So my work ethic was different. I didn't have fraternity brothers coming by seeing if I wanted to go drink a beer. I had a wife. And so, she was very supportive through the whole thing. And I think most people scratch their heads. They said, why at this point do you want to change careers and be a dentist? But I was late 20s, early 30s. And I think all of us, it takes a while to kind of figure things out. So for me, as I looked into it, I felt like dentistry was going to here again allow me to express my artistic side. I mean, I definitely work with my hands every day, that was a great benefit for me as I went to dental school, because a lot of people have a hard time with that. They may have the mental capacity to do all the science and that kind of thing, but they didn't have, as they said, good hands.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to that. You have to be definitely someone who has some kind of artistic or mechanical bent to be able to do the fine things that we do.
Absolutely, and the small space that you have to work with.
Yeah, it's very intricate.
Yeah.
I feel like it's working on a Swiss watch, you know, with one eye, you know, and in a dark space. So
yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But you know, it's been a rewarding profession for me, and this is my 25th year, by the way.
That's,
so
congratulations.
Started, thank you, 1994. So you know, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary here in Waynesville, and I'm trying to do a lot of things for my patients. I'm trying to do some neat things. You know, you see all the social media.
You do neat stuff, yeah. You do neat stuff all the time, though. Yeah. I mean, the whole rose thing.
Yeah, our rose ceremony.
That was so brilliant.
We always have contests for not just our patients, for the community. Anybody that wants to follows us on Facebook. We're community-oriented people. We
Very much so.
Just did a trash, what we called our Trash Talk Challenge with Haywood Family Eye Care, where our teams challenged each other, and we did a lot of trash talking, and then we finished up by going out cleaning up the trash. Yeah, so we try to do neat things with our patients, with our friends and neighbors in the community, with our business neighbors, our downtown neighbors, and you know, we're just constantly trying to, you know, I think that's another thing, the creative part comes out, just to do these things that are, I think, silly and fun, but people really respond to them.
Yep.
And it kind of takes a little of the stigma away from being a dentist. Everybody's anxious about the dentist. You know, that's, for a lot of people, that's one of their greatest fears.
Hands down, 100%.
But I think when they see us acting goofy, and I've got a great team.
Yeah,
my team is award-winning. We've been voted best dentist numerous times, and that is partially me, but it's mostly them.
It's a reflection of your whole team.
They've got, I say, your vibe attracts your tribe. And so we've got,
I love that.
We've got a whole crowd here, and you know, it's a very friendly, inviting, fun, family atmosphere that I think that we've all created together. So
tell me about how you met your wife.
Yeah, Lisa and I actually, you know, I mentioned Western Carolina University.
Yeah.
So, and this is an interesting story. Lisa had gone to Lees McRae College. At that time, it was a 2-year college.
Okay.
And so she had graduated from there, and she was kind of trying to figure out where to go. From Gastonia, where she's from, a lot of folks, for whatever reason, are drawn to Western Carolina. Mm-hmm. So that was on her radar. So I was due to graduate. I actually should have graduated, but my advisor came to me and said, you know, you're 1 credit short. You know, you've got 3 hours here that you've got to fill somehow. So I had to sign up for an additional course. And I was actually going to have to come to summer school to do that.
Okay.
So I signed up, not enough people did, so they canceled the course, which meant I had to come back a whole extra semester. My parents were not thrilled about this. You know, that was going to put me on the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
But you know, I was kind of cool with it. You know, it's not like it hurt my feelings to go back to school.
Yeah.
So the first week that I came back, there was a pretty little girl that I hadn't seen before. Western Carolina at that time was a much smaller school.
Sure.
And so you kind of knew everyone. You know, at least if you didn't know them personally, you recognized just about everyone.
You knew of them, right?
Yep. So I come back, and you know, for that following year, and there's a new girl in town, and I'd never seen her, and you know, I think we both caught each other's eye, and we had friends that we were asking that seemed to know friends, and who's this, and you know, who's that person, and we were just kind of drawn to each other.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. If I had graduated,
you would have never
I
met
would
her.
have never met her. And if she had not decided to come to Western, you know, she had gone to another school. She just happened to transfer in to finish her degree, and we just happened to meet that first week, and it literally was love at first sight. It's one of those things where it's like you see stars or lightning bolts or whatever, and you're like, where's this person been? So I always feel like, whatever we're doing in life, I mean, don't ever count anything out, because and I know you believe this too about manifestation.
Absolutely.
Manifesting things in your life, and the thoughts that you have, the things you think about. Don't ever quit. Don't ever give up, because you never know what's going to show up in your life, and it's going to be what you want and what you need at the exact time you need it.
At the exact time that you need it.
Not any sooner. Yep. Not any later.
I do say that sometimes. I'm like, I'll be talking to God. I'm like, all right, man, I really need this. I'm putting it out there to you, and I'm thanking you for that blessing, like right now, and I'm going to manifest really hardcore on it, and it will literally be down to like the hour.
Yeah.
And then a piece of mail will show up, and it's just like, there it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's incredible. It's incredible. I wish more people understood the power of that.
Yeah.
So, what was the proposal like?
The proposal was not anything. It's not going to be in Nicholas Sparks' book or anything.
Damn it! I was so wishing for that.
Yeah. We don't. I don't have any great story for that. I think. Well, we started dating.
Yeah.
And so we actually dated for 3 years. So I think it was, probably when her mother started introducing me as her son-in-law, I figured maybe I ought to kind of, move forward with this.
Yeah.
So, we were at my house in Silva again, and I had kind of secretly gone and bought a ring, and I knew kind of what I was going to do, and we were just at my home. And I said, listen, let's talk just a minute. And I think at that point, after 3 years, and we were so close at that point, it was...
She knew it was...
It was coming at some point, it was just a matter of when. So it wasn't anything great, like I say, nothing cinematic. It was more or less like, okay, let's go ahead and plan this thing now. So.
Nice. Well, that's got to... I mean, everyone has a different story, It's nice to hear... It's nice to hear, like, the big grandiose stories, but it's really kind of almost sweeter sometimes to hear about when it wasn't just a big show or production. It's just two people that are madly in love that just have it between the two of them, So I think that's really awesome.
I think we had just, like I say, the initial attraction, the initial thunderbolts came, that first time. And we were just so closely matched. I mean, we just were so closely aligned in our likes and our background, the way we were raised, just wanting the same things. And so it was just, but it was crazy how we initially met, but then from then on it was just kind of like, this is a done deal.
So let's get back to your music a little bit. So tell me about if you could tell me like the top 5 bands. Like, who's your top 5?
Okay, wow, gosh, see.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive. I hear these questions like, God, how can you narrow that down? Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I'd say, and I can't put these in order, but I'll say, bands that have really influenced me or meant a lot to me.
Yep.
I'd say the Beatles, right off the bat. I mean, I grew up, and I think I had some older cousins that had some Beatles albums, and I thought my cousins were cool, so I thought, Beatles gotta be cool. Now, I got, I'm listening to these albums, so I'm cool, but I listened to the heck out of some Beatles. Allman Brothers, I mean, right up there at the top. I mean, I'm a Southern guy, I grew up here. Those were things that were always kind of in just my listening atmosphere too. I would say, and if I do rank them, I may say that number 1 is the Eagles.
Oh. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, for people of a certain age, I mean, that's the soundtrack of our childhood, from the 70s on. And so, the Eagles, and I've been fortunate to be able to see them as the original Eagles, but also kind of in their later variations. And I just recently got to see them about a year ago in Nashville, Tennessee, with some local friends. We went down and saw the Eagles as they played with Vince Gill, and he's phenomenal. I mean, the show that they put on was, of course, the songs. I mean, the music was impeccable, and when they hit the first chord, I mean,
it gets you in your soul.
It's like, man, I mean, this is fantastic. They started off the concert was Seven Bridges Road, and you're like, okay, man, you know, I'm done.
I'm done.
If I walk out of here now, you know, that's good. And
Yeah.
it's just song after song. All right, so that's 3. I would say, gosh, you know, I hate to keep on with the Southern bands, but Leonard Skinner was, you know, another big influence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another kind of a soundtrack to my youth.
They grew up in my hometown
Oh yeah,
in Jacksonville, Florida.
yep.
Yeah,
That's
so they were-
awesome. They're
yeah.
all brothers from that neck of the woods
That's
as well.
that is right.
Yeah,
That is
they're
right.
from
Yeah.
right down in there. So, I may not can stop at 5, but I'm gonna throw the Rolling Stones in there.
Okay.
You know, love the Rolling Stones. Had an opportunity to see them in Raleigh. But I'll say some bands here recently that my boys have turned me on to. Now, you know, let me throw
Like
in,
who?
Let me throw in Led Zeppelin. You know, that's number 6. No, my kids turned me on to the Haywood Brothers.
Okay.
Okay, love the Haywood Brothers. One of my sons, Clay, turned me on to Fish.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
Fish.
old school Fish.
Yeah, I'm going to be seeing Fish for my 6th or 7th time here in June.
Wow.
Clay and I, that's kind of our father and son thing. We go see Fish every summer. So we're
Oh
trying
my
to see
God.
them, yeah. So I'll be going to Charlotte.
So they're not brand. I mean, your
Well-
sons introduced them to you years ago.
Newer for me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't grow up, Fish wasn't around.
Right,
as I
right.
grew up. And so as I was away and, you know, dental school and raising kids or something, Fish wasn't on my
Right.
radar. And then I'll say my kids too, now this is not a new band, but my kids really introduced me to the Grateful Dead. I did not listen to the Dead growing up. You know, they just weren't, you know, they were more of a jam band. They kind of had a subculture.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really listen to them, but my kids started listening to them. And they got me introduced, and boy, I love them, you know. So I never got to see the Grateful Dead in person, but I've seen Dead and Company, which is their latest incarnation, 3 or 4 times. So, you know, that's one thing we do is we go to music festival. We're going to Merle Fest.
I know. I'm a little jealous. A little
I
jealous.
think this is 10 years for us going to Merle Fest. Been introduced to a lot of great bands there. Tedeschi Trucks Band. If you're familiar with them,
I
you gotta
am.
check them out. Yeah, I think they're from Florida maybe. Yeah, they're from Jacksonville.
Are they from Jacksonville?
Yeah, let's see. Derek Trucks would be Butch Trucks, who was the drummer for Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
That's his nephew.
Okay.
And Derek also played for the Allman Brothers.
So they're pieces of all the different bands that came together to create the Tedeschi
Tedeschi Trucks.
Trucks.
Susan Tedeschi, who's Derek Trucks' wife.
Okay.
She sounds like Bonnie Raitt. She's a terrific blues singer.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Okay.
But I've been turned on to a lot of bands. Now, Merle Fest is more, they say it's Americana plus. We love bluegrass as
Yeah.
well. We, you know, grew up.
We grew up on
grew
it.
up in Selma, so
Yeah.
yeah, we cut our teeth on bluegrass. I mean, that's what my parents listened to, which made me hate it.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
But then
you.
as I grew older, it's like that soundtrack, you know.
Yep.
It resonates against something. You know, you hear that, it's like, man, that's home. That's home right there. So, you know, we've gone for 10 years to Merle Fest. So we try to hit some music festivals through the summer, concerts when we can. So music's a big part of our life. I think Lisa's a singer, by the way. Lisa,
I did not know that.
people always ask, well, did they get it from me? And really, they got it
From their
Lisa.
mom.
I think I had them listening to the good stuff. And she was a singer, always sang in church, always sings around the house. And so I think that encouraged them to, you know, to perform. You know, they've seen their mother perform hundreds of times, and I think that gave them encouragement that it's kind of like, you know, it's their legacy.
Sure. Well, you grew up seeing it. Does it become? It's not as fearful, I suppose, if you grow up having never seen it and you're kind of like the first generation to put your foot out there. But
Yeah.
but it sounds like, you know, with the support and the endorsement of you know, of you and Lisa, I mean, they really don't have a choice. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's really,
It's kind of just ingrained in them. It's
It
not
is.
even a choice. It's just this is what we're doing. It's very natural. It's just an organic thing for them to be able to do what they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's in their blood, and
Absolutely.
every step along the way, we've just encouraged it. We've never said, why do you want to do this, or
Yeah.
you can't do that. We've always said, hey, take the next step.
Yeah.
You know, pursue it as far as you can and as far as you want,
Yeah.
And at some point, if that changes, that's okay too.
Yeah.
I was an artist, now I'm a dentist. It's like, and I don't
Always
know
an
that I'm
artist,
done yet.
though.
I don't know that I'm done yet. I see myself being in the dental business, as long as I'm physically able to do it. I'm enjoying photography, so
Yeah.
one thing I do, that's kind of how I satisfy my creative sweet tooth these days,
Yeah.
is to get out and take photographs. As I said before, I like to hike, I like to fish, I like to get outside. So, I go out to our national parks. I just got back from Joshua Tree National Park.
I saw that. Yeah.
Another son, Davis, and I are going to Yosemite in the fall. Been to Death Valley. Of course, here we've got everything
Plethora.
around.
Yeah.
That's my backyard here is to go to the Smokies,
Yeah.
and I've got my go-to places there. And so, for hobbies, I like to get out and I want to do some photography. And I do have like an online kind of a shop, I guess. It's on Fine Art America that I put some of my photographs. And so, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing until, like I say, something pops up and says, "Hey, man, it's time to take a
left."
Yeah, take a left.
Yeah.
You're done here."
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just going to see it through. Keep on keeping on.
I love that too. It's true. It's just absolutely true. So, where do you kind of see? And you said this a couple times about being so blessed with being born and raised in this area and this town being so supportive and kind of giving back too. What's kind of the biggest change that you've seen in Haywood County from when you were younger to where we are now?
Well, the biggest change, of course, I think all of us have seen is an influx of people.
Mm-hmm.
We are kind of a growing area. We've been found. And so, as I was growing up, now I look back, and of course, you don't know what you don't know. I had a certain frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back now, and it's like looking at, those faded
Old photos.
old Polaroids, and it's just such a great area to grow up in. And, I guess what I miss about that is, like everybody says, we would go out on our bicycles and we would stay out until dark,
Okay.
and nobody ever worried about us. Nobody ever knew there was any danger there. As more people have come along, I think, that's just everywhere. It's not just Waynesville, it's everywhere you go.
Right.
People are a little more wary. We don't let our kids out and do that kind of thing. But I think Waynesville still retains a lot of that.
I agree with you.
And that's why I'm here. That's why I moved back here, was to give my kids as close to that style
Upbringing.
of upbringing as I could. And so I think more people coming in, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think we've seen a lot of progress as far as just our infrastructure. I think our town has done a good job, even though some people don't like it, but they've kind of forced some people to not get out of hand on the big box kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if they do, that they try to fit in with our our mountain visuals.
Our heritage.
Yeah.
Still try to stay true to
Yeah.
the small mountain town that we're founded on.
Yeah. And I like some things that I'm seeing now, and I think not just here, but I see, different places where they do mixed use places where you've got, walkable communities. I think
Yeah.
that's one thing that we need more of is walkable communities, and then mixed use as far as retail
And residential.
residences.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm reading correctly, that's what I see kind of coming.
Yep.
And I think that's great.
I do too.
And just see a lot of great things. See a lot of neat shops that are popping up around here. We're getting, who knew we'd have all these breweries
I
in
know.
these small towns. We surely didn't have it whenever I was growing up. But I think, that gives people, it gives you an opportunity to kind of go and meet together, listen to some good music,
Yeah.
to sit around and talk. People seem to have a certain vibe, a certain mindset. And,
Yeah.
Waynesville's just a great community. I think we all take care of each other, we look after each other, and that's one of the benefits of living in small
town.
We're not anonymous here, by any means.
So what's kind of, other than keep on keeping on, what's kind of your slogan, the slogan that you kind of connect with mostly, and then the final question would be, what's the advice, to the younger generation that is growing up in Haywood County?
Yeah. Well, I think there's such a great opportunity with technology. And you're seeing that and doing that in your business, and I'm doing that in my business as well. And I see a lot of folks that are coming in, and they are able to work remotely, or they're able to work digitally, and that kind of thing. And so I think that's huge. It allows you to work in an area that you like, but in the big town as well. So my personal motto, and what I would tell anyone, is be bold. Life's too short. We ain't got enough time to be messing around here. We got to get it. We got to get with it. And so if you're going to do it, do it. And go ahead while you're young. You really can't. You can screw up, but you got time to recover.
Recover from it, yeah.
And you got time to learn. I always say, failure's not final, failure is feedback. And so just as long as you're kind of failing forward or failing upward, that's the way everybody does. That's the way Thomas Edison did it. That's the way, Steve Jobs did it. That's the way Bill Gates did it. Everybody,
they failed forward.
Failed upward. You learn and you use that as feedback. But I think be bold. If there's something you want to do, don't let folks tell you not to do it. Don't let people talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Don't have any regrets. Don't look back and say, I let this one person influence me, and I made a huge decision based on what I thought this person thought. But that person's not in my life anymore. They've been gone now 12 years, but I made this decision on what I did, the career I chose, the school I went to, a project. Maybe I wanted to start a magazine or an app. I'm sure you had a few people tell you, maybe that's not, that'll never happen here.
Yeah.
You'll never be able to do that here, and yet you did.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of people that are sitting back telling us that we can't do things while we're doing it.
Right.
Right? Can I get an amen on that?
Amen! God, I feel like you're inside of my life right now. It's so bizarre, but beautifully connected. It's like manifest bold,
Yeah.
Go all in,
Life's too short to be small.
Absolutely.
Life is too short to be small. So be big, be bold.
Be big and be bold. Final words to the generation that's here, the ones that are growing up in Haywood County, like my daughter who's 14, and I moved her from Jacksonville, Florida, for the exact same reason. Like, you're not going to grow up in a city like this where when you're walking through metal detectors to go into your middle school, and magnificently landed here. And she's like, I hate this place. This place sucks. It's boring. I want to be in Miami. I want to be in California. And it's just like, baby girl, you just don't. You will see all of those places. So what's kind of your words of wisdom to that generation?
I just think be true to yourself. That generation, any generation, just be true to yourself. And, try different things. Get out and, she may find that she doesn't like it here now, but like the rest of us.
Right.
We didn't like it either.
That's what I think that they needed to hear. I was like, I didn't always love this place.
No, I couldn't. Like so many people, I wanted to get out of here. I wanted to see the big city.
Yeah.
I came, I saw, I came back home. And so, I think just be true to yourself, and there again, if there's something you want to do, something you want to see it, go try it. But we all find ourselves through all these different experiences, these different journeys, the different things. We find what is our truth and what is who we are. We find out who we are, and I think you just gotta do that every day, and everything you do.
And listen to this.
Yeah,
listen to this.
Yeah. It won't steer you wrong.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate
much.
it.
I loved it.
It's a
I
lot.
loved it.